Alright, guess we're streaming now. Trying to figure out a good camera angle for all this jazz right now. So let me just say hi in this chat so people know that I'm alive. Hi in chat, I'm alive. Awesome, did that. So now I'm gonna hey there. Just trying to get my comments up. Sorry. I'm not exactly sure how to make that happen before I start. So stupid. My channel. Here I am. Live chat. Start first. Derek is first. Okay. So, yeah, Ben was working, right? Yeah. Oh, AD's not here? Oh, he is here. Second. Oh, you have to claim it, Ben. You just can't show up and say, second. Okay. So, what are we going to do today? I don't know. I think Ben was talking about some grain direction stuff. And then get dust on my eyes. Turn the fan on. Sweep up first. So I'm trying to find a good representative. Oh, that's all quarter saw. That's beautiful stuff. So, I can do this one. This one's riffs on. So, what do you want to see, Ben? You had some. We don't have any more cherry snow, Derek. I have the dust collection hooked up now. Just a little bit of shit that was on the top of this board. See all those little freckles and speckles and jeckles and freckles and any other Eccles word. I don't really know. What does Ben need to know? Jesus, where do we start? Ben needs to know a lot. I guess I'll start off this video by thanking my Patreon subscribers. Mike V in Illinois, Derek in Oklahoma, and Ben in Michigan. I'd like to thank all three of you greatly. You know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of silly, but yeah, Michigan's close to Canada. And I got a comment the other day that said, hey man, we don't really know what you're talking about because we can't see the comments when it goes, when the stream ends. And it's because YouTube has a really shitty thing where the live comments don't show up in the actual video, which they should. I mean, Facebook figured it out. Maybe they have a patent. I don't know how that shit works. But, so what does Ben need to know about grain direction? Well, a lot of things, really. I mean, this is a good board to point those things out. Where's my $80 brush at? There we go. This is a perfect board to show this. Sorry. Had a wedgie. Whatever. We're live. This is a great board to show this on. I can run this over the machine if you want so we can see the grain direction better. Is that something we want to see? Let me get a marker. Yeah, let's run it through the machine first. So we have the machine, so we might as well use it. Machine, we've met machine, right? I got a comment about my shitty camera angles last time. I don't know what to tell you. Bear with me. I don't fucking know. Machine on. As noticed by the lights right here. So I'm going to turn on the dust collection. Try to back you up so you can see what's going on. Maybe that'll be better. Shit, I don't know, guys. I miss... Is that better? Probably. I don't know. So I'm going to turn on the dust collection and run this board through. You see, it's just a cherry board. So I'm not really going to fix this too much. That's a lot of, maybe. But you can see that, you know, cathedrals. The main thing I want you to notice on this right now is that there's, on this side of the board, there's straighter grain. And this side, the grain is tapering off. So then now we have straighter grain right here. I'll run that through. That's fine. Or I'll run it through here and chop it off on the... But right now, what I want to be left with... See it right there? See the smaller part of where I've made that mark? See where that grain... Let me do it in a different color. So you can see the grain. And so you can see the grain is in red. You can kind of follow that a little bit better now. Because what you have there is a combination of flat sawn and rift sawn. Does everybody know what that means? If you don't, you fucking Google it. So what I'm going to do is break this part out of this blank after I joint it. Okay. I got a yes from Ben, so he at least knows the words. So, see the machine. Let me move you over here. I'm going to try to keep you over here if I can. So I'm not going to do any planing. I'm just going to joint this board. Because it's just to get it smooth so you can see what the fuck I'm talking about. So you can make sure that comes through there. I don't like it coming up. Alright. Make sure when I pass through you're not going to be hit. Ah, fuck it. Well, I'll just leave you right there. Does that work? Then you can see it actually coming through. Dust collection's on. Glass is on. Machine's on. First pass. Second pass. So 3 passes and we're good. up. Let's run this through the planer. I'm going to flip this over and run it through the planer right now. I was thinking about not doing that, but might as well. It's a pretty quick changeover. Okay. So it's coming up. Machine on. Dust collection on. So, one pass, we're done. Flip it back over. You'll never get used to that. I just took off about that was about 1/4 of an inch pass. A little less, 3/16 or so. Sure there. Glasses. Yeah, for this one, I'm really using, I mean, I probably could use push blocks, but because you're going over the guard, you know, when you're pushing through and I just don't. Maybe I will in the future when I get more used to it. But you saw how quick that was. I mean, we didn't really try to do anything special. All I wanted to do was remove enough shit so you can see what the board looks like. And really, not the perfect board to use. So we still have our pattern right here, right? That didn't change. Nothing really changed. But really what I want you to see, this marker, so that looks like garbage. Whatever. You can kind of see what's going on here, right? So, because we have our grain right here, right? See, it's at like a 45-degree angle running through. Does everyone get that? So what that means is when the grain comes through on the other side, it's going to be straight. So right now you can see that grain like three-dimensionally, how it see what I'm saying? Say yes or say no or say, hey, we need a better explanation. The last comment I see is lower the bed, dummy, which, you know, that's fair comment. I need to get used to that. All right, Derek says that it's a good example. All right, Anthony's with me. All right, Ben, thank you. Ben is back. Ben likes it. Okay, good. So if I have this same board, you know, it's a shitty example because I want more width on this board because I can't really flatten this right now because it's just so wanky. Maybe I could actually taper that and it would, I'd get a leg out of there. Yeah, the riff song gives me tight grain throughout the leg. So if I decided to take my leg out of this side, right, where it's more flat sawn, because over the course of a board, you have a lot of different grain characteristics. And I'm really lucky that most of my boards are quarter sawn. I mean, yeah, quarter sawn right now. But I don't really have this problem. But even a quarter sawn, like, where's a quarter sawn board? This is a good example, probably. It's just heavy. So you know. I can run this over the joiner real quick so you can see. You can't see that shit at all, can you? All right. I'm going to rip this on the bandsaw real quick. Y'all want to see that? But I just want to take some shit off of here. I'll set you up so you can see my bandsaw. Okay. This board would have been better to show you because it's shorter. You can't really see shit, can you? So this board's quarter sawn. You can see that pretty clearly. Y'all still with me in the comments? So that's quarter sawn. And I'm going to show you why that's not good for legs. All right. So we didn't really use proper milling techniques just then. And I did that for the interest in time. Just, this isn't, I bet it's not horribly unsquare. Anyway, so a quarter sawn stock, which you can see right here, everything with a red line through it is quarter sawn. And the right is just bullshit because it's a knot and it looks like shit. Right? See the end where that knot is? So I smoothed everything so you can see the grain easier. So, you know, you might think to yourself, well, if I can get the riff sawn stock and I have straight edges, straight grain all the way down, right? Like in this picture, then why don't I just use quarter sawn? And I hear a lot of people talking about that on different forums and different chat groups and whatever. The reason is the side, and the reason you have to do it like on a stickly piece, you know, mission style furniture, you want quarter sawn stock on all four corners. There are a couple reasons for that we won't really go into. But the main reason is this. Like, look at this. Is that coming in clearly? Can you see how shitty that looks? So this is shitty cathedral grain. This side's even shittier. So you see all that really nasty cathedral grain? Is this making sense? I hope this is making sense. I don't know another way to explain it. So you have your quarter sawn grain, and your leg would be right here, right? So our leg would come out of this kind of shit, right? And the other day, people were talking about quarter sawn cherry and quarter sawn maple and what it looks like. Well, I think it looks fucking fantastic because on the quarter sawn part of it, see that fleck right there? I'm going to call it fleck. It might have a better scientific name. I don't know if Eric is with us to delineate what that is really called. But right here, so I'm trying to focus the camera on that part. Catch the light. See that, like, you know what I'm talking about, right? So the reason the reason Ben says, I don't know why it sucks, but it makes sense. Well, the reason is simply that with that grain direction, grain can only be straight grain or cathedral for the most part. You're either going to get nice long grain or you're going to get cathedrals like this. And if you put this on the end of your fucking chair leg or your table leg or your whatever leg, it's going to look like shit. And you might not see it, your mom might not see it, your client might not see it, but that's what's going to separate you from the people that know what the fuck they're doing. So that's just basically kind of it. So to avoid that, cathedral grain, Derek, yes, I will see it, and I will call you out on it. I'm going to rip this on the bandsaw real quick. Hey, Mark. How you doing? I normally do use dust collection on my bandsaw, and it's actually pretty decent. But I was just trying to hurry up and joint this board, so only to clean up the grain, not because this is a... I could get a leg out of this, but it's not my intent. So we just talked about, Mark, rift sawn grain on the end of a... we had a couple of questions about using what stock to use for legs, chair legs, table legs, whatever legs. And the answer is you want to use rift sawn stock. You might know this, I don't know, but just to catch you up. Rift sawn stock on legs because it produces a better grain figure all the way around. That looks shitty because it's not jointed. And I don't want to bore you through that. So I just jointed this edge. So I cut this piece out of the other blank, right? So I cut this out. Right. Yeah, there we go. So I cut this out of that piece because then my other side, and this, right on the edge, it looks good. And right on this edge, it looks good too because it's at the end of those. But on the faces of that flat sawn, you get cathedrals. See how cathedrals, and now you have pretty, and you have pretty, and you actually see some ray flex from that quarter sawn because it comes up, because it technically, so now look at what we've done here. We took this board, this is important to know too. This is why I like buying big stock and giant trees, and that's why I have a big joiner. Because now we've taken this board, right, and for, I don't know how long we've been on, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? 30 minutes, I've told you that this piece of the board is complete shit, and this is what you want. Well, that's true for table legs, chair legs, whatever. But for almost anything else, right? Now for this board, if this is wide enough, I can use this for my rails and stiles, for my door panel. See that door opening back there? What's going on? Hey, buddy.
Hi.
We have a visitor.
Hi.
This is completely unplanned and unwarranted. Hey.
Hi.
How you doing, buddy? You want to say hi to? You want to say hi to the 6 people that are watching? Say hi, 6 people.
Hi, 6 people.
So that's my son, Aiden. He's pretty cool. He identifies as a woodworker and a ninja. He's learning some ninja stuff, and I'm afraid of him. All right, go back inside, little ninja. Say bye.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, Ben, Tamara's the one that opened the door. Who do you think let him out here? Thanks for popping in, Anthony. I'll let him know. So, back to the kind of, I almost lost my train of thought. But, so when you're evaluating a board, you know, that's 12 inches wide, 20 inches wide, whatever, however wide the board is. You look at it and you say, all right, well, I can get a leg out of it, and I can get some quarter sawn grain, because now this flat sawn, now it's quarter sawn, right? So now we know we have straight grain right here. So if I chop this in half, if I resaw this down the middle, I'm going to have 2 quarter sawn panels. Or if I chop it right here, right, I have quarter saw rails and stiles. You want quarter saw material when you're making door frames for your rails and stiles, because it has less wood movement. And so that's important to know. See, I have some stock right here. So that's pretty much quarter sawn. So your other side of your flat sawn board, your other face of your flat sawn board is quarter sawn. And just take a look at it. It might not be perfectly quarter sawn. This is really good material right here. So that edge, you can see the fleck in it. You know it's damn near a 90-degree resaw, quarter sawn, which it is. It dips away a little bit down here. See where it dips out? But just keep that in mind when you're buying material. So when you buy a board, just don't say, all right, I bought the biggest, widest board I can. Let's make table legs out of it. There's probably better material hidden in that board that you're not looking for. Like this board right here, I cut this one from it. So before I did all that jointing and planing and whatever, this is the other side of that board. And 99% of us would say, fuck that board. It's all janky. And it has all this shit, and it has all that shit, right? And look at the edge. So we pretty much have a perfectly quarter sawn board. And I know that even without looking at the end grain, because I have straight grain here, straight grain here, and cathedral grain here. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I think everyone's getting it. All right. So Ben, and anybody, does anybody have any questions about how we achieved that grain pattern and the stock that we started out with, and how that would help you? I gotta turn the logo because I'm not sponsored. Sorry. So does anybody have any questions on how to choose grain, what to look for? I think this is a pretty good primer. There's a lot of other information involved in picking out a board and what board to use. And we got lucky on this board, right? Because it happened to be at the end of the board. But it doesn't always happen that way. So just take a board like this. This is a really wide board. I think this is 11 inches wide almost. So you have an 11-inch board. You know, it looks like shit in the middle. So what have we learned today? We've learned that we have straight grain here. straight grain here, right? So what is our end grain going to look like? You guessed it, right? Pretty much we have a different pattern right here. This is the kind of pattern we have on this board. So we can get a leg out of here, a leg out of here, and look at what we're left with in the middle. We have quarter sawn grain almost in the middle. It's a small piece, but we might be able to use that for something. And depending on how tight this grain is and this grain is, we might be able to get 2 legs out of each side. So don't throw this away because it has a knot in it. There's a knot in the top, and there's a check in the back, another knot right here, because that's in the middle. We're not really going to use that. And we're going to lose a lot to get this board straight. Got another snowflake in my eye. Yeah, Mark, it's an interesting way to think about it. Mark said he didn't think about it that way before. It's because no one talks about this stuff. People want it to be a secret, like they hold all the fucking knowledge, and it's, I think that's bullshit. So when you're choosing boards, you just don't go to the lumberyard and say, I need 100 board feet of cherry. Because they're going to look at you like you're stupid and hand you a ton of toothpicks. You got to know exactly what you're looking for. Say, I need... First, if you're familiar with your guys, or even if you're not, become friends with your wood guy at the lumberyard. Say, hey, I'm making this table. I need, my legs are, 36 inches tall. I need rift sawn grain for those because I'm going to be making, I want it to look decent. And then welcome back, Derek. So when you go to the lumberyard, let your guy know what you're looking for. Hey, I'm making a table, 36-inch long legs. I want those to be rift sawn. And I need to yield a 2-inch by 2-inch leg blank from that. And that's kind of almost, this is 1 3/4 basically by 1 3/4. Which will be fine. You can do that for like a small end table. Talk to the guy. He's going to know what he has on hand. And if you don't know what you're looking for, talk to the guy. They're there to help you. If you stop buying wood from them, and they'll go out of business. So whatever. Because most of the lumber yards are mainly hobbyist driven. They're not commercially driven. Because a lot of the commercial guys won't sell to you. They have their own guys, their own clients. You're lucky that some do both. And you get some sort of discount. Anyway. Ben, anybody else have any questions? Clarification? We can do another round of. I could grab another board. We could do it again, and I can guess what's going to come out and show you that I know what the hell I'm talking about. What questions do you have, Derek? Derek says he has a question. Let's pause for this Snapple break. I might have another board laying around. I got a whole stack of this shit laying around. All right, cool. Derek says he doesn't have a question. He was agreeing with what I was saying. Awesome. Kind of wrapping it up. What we did was, when today started, we had We got a board. Which board was it? Oh, that's that from that one. Yeah. So when we started, we had this blank right here. All we did was no Ben, or no Derek. When we started, all we did was take this board right here, mark down the grain, and said, hey, we got a couple inch by couple inch square for a leg, and we drew a black line to delineate that. We cut that on a bandsaw. No, actually, we jointed and flipped it over and planed it, and I took a 1/4 inch pass almost on that planer and it came out that smooth. Could be smoother. That's a lot of material to hog off in one bite. Yeah, this was the edge. I have no tear out or anything. Okay, Derek wants me to show Ben what book matching is. Just real quick, I have a panel I'll show you. So, book matching, this is why you need a bandsaw, and for 1,000 other reasons, you need a bandsaw. I don't have a good way to really. Let me show you. So this panel, you see that little guy? This Kilroy. Anyway, oh, that was funny. So, see a panel right here. You can see where the joint line is, right? That should be fairly evident, although I did a pretty good job of hiding it. Hey, Ben. So there's the joint line, right? And what we have is this board was twice as thick as this, and stood it up. So you picture this board, right? So we have 10 inches. So we have a 20-inch panel. So my board was a little over 10 inches to start off with. Ran this through the bandsaw after one side was flat. Ran it through the bandsaw. Now I have 2 pieces. And this is glued together now. But this was, so these 2 faces right here were facing each other. Does that make sense? Or, right? So I unfolded those and glued it. Clamped it. A little bit of glue. No dominoes, no biscuits, no splines, none of that garbage. Just glued the damn panel. Then you have a book match panel. All it is. And this is, you have cathedral grain. It's not the prettiest panel in the world, but the bottom of that panel, you can see where the cathedrals are trailing off. They're trailing off. Yeah. I did not say that, Ben. They're garbage for panel glue-ups. So the bottom of this looked a lot better. I got really lucky, and it was really tight cathedral. And this board was 5 feet long when I started. So 5 foot long board, ripped it on the bandsaw, resawed it on the bandsaw, glued it up, or opened it up, glued it up, clamped it up with less than 8 clamps. It's you guys with all your clamps. I don't understand you. And now we have a panel that's perfectly glued up, very strong. Your glue joint is fairly hidden. But, I want to show you something that's important. You might not be able to see it because it's not sanded to a high level. But you see the chatoyance? Look at the middle. This is what you're focusing on. Don't care about the outsides. But you can see in the raking light, there's chatoyance in the board, right? You see where the curl matches up to the other side? And that's why I drew the line. So you can see the curl right here matching up to the other side. It's alternating. It's alternating. And that's what you get when you book match a curly maple panel. You can slip match. So if you slip match, what you would do is after you unfold your board, you take one, you turn it around and glue it up. Then your chatoyance is running in the same direction. It may or may not matter for what you're doing, depending on other factors and what you're making. But that's kind of it very quickly. Hey Mark, how you doing? Welcome. Mark, did you catch what we did today? Just catching up on comments. Yeah, you don't need a bunch of clamps. Those guys with all the clamps it's just, they just want to collect something. Which, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But whatever. Well, there's 2 of you, Mark. You got 2 Marks watching me right now. It's kind of cool. I don't think I've had 2 of the same guy watching me. Ben likes clamps. Who knew? Yeah, it's kind of it for today. Unless there's something else you want to know, then we can make a decision where if you want to see it now or if you want to see it next week or next time. This is really depending on how long it's going to take to explain it or to cover it. If you just want clarification on something we've done today, that's fine. We can do that. I don't know, Mark. I may or may not. Was that this week? Mark's talking about the Denver Maker Meetup. If you're in the Denver, Colorado, northern or southern or fucking wherever, Colorado, if you're in Colorado, just come down to the Facebook.com and look up Denver Makers Meetup and join the Facebook group and come down there and see everybody. And if you're not in the Denver area, you can't. Sorry. All right, I think that's going to wrap it up. We're kind of trailing off on the comments right now. Again, I just wanted to thank Derek, Ben, and Mike for their very generous Patreon donations per month. It really helps us out here over at the YouTube channel. Just me doing my best to answer some questions and trying to provide some sort of comic relief throughout the day. And that's all we can really hope for, I guess. So, until next time, see you later.